All right, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Final Word with MattyB here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network with your boy MattyB on the call. And you might be wondering, what the hell are you doing on the air right now? Well, we're in a rain delay in Atlanta, so I figured I'd just jump in here real quick and kind of fill up some dead air. 1-1 as they entered that rain delay in the seventh inning between the Phillies and the Braves. So I'm on coming at you with the final word right now. I'm not going to sit here till 3 o'clock in the morning and wait for the Phillies game to end and the Fighting's final and then come on. So I figured I'd jump on. And you're going to get double dose of me because when this game does resume, I will be back with the final, with the Fighting's final at some point this evening. So welcome to the Final Word. It's great to be back on this Thursday night, the final night of our broadcast week. Got a 5 for 5 this week. And yeah, you know, it's always fun to be your last stop in your Philadelphia sports day. And tonight we're going to, I had this big grandiose show planned. We're going to get into some grading of Dave Dombroski because a comment that was made last night on a show by a very loyal contributor, Michael Papernick, got me thinking. And I want to, if he's listening out there, I want him to chime in because I want to make sure he's listening. And I want him to hear this, that I don't think I gave the comment its proper due. And as I was thinking about the comment, and I'll get into the comment later on, what it was, it had me kind of, it made me think. And tonight I was prepared to present this huge answer, this very detailed answer to his question last night that he was very adamant about. And now that I think about it, it's a very, very, very legit question. So we were going to do that today. I don't know if I'm going to get into the grading scale of Dave Dombroski tonight. I may wait for that on Sunday night when I'm back for the final word to kick off our new week, but I will address the comment and I will give it a more detailed answer. So we'll do that tonight. We'll do the of the night segment, and we will also do our card of the week and our new segment with talking about MLB jerseys and my all-time favorite Major League Baseball jersey. So all those great, wonderful things we'll do tonight as we are in a rain delay in Atlanta. And again, just a programming note, I will be back after the Phillies game. I will take the final tonight. Sal G was supposed to do it, but because a lot of you guys out there have day jobs, I don't. So, you know, I'm not going to make you stay up and do that. So I am going to be back here for the Fighting's final whenever this game does conclude tonight in Atlanta. 1-1, by the way, in the seventh inning. So let's get rolling and rocking and rolling. Here we go. And Joe, how you doing? So let's get the show started. Before I do, I hope you guys checked out the great Attacking Third show that just happened here on the network. Shout out to Steve and Pat as they did their interview tonight with the play-by-play or the voice of the union. Go back and check that thing out if you didn't see it. Quality entertainment here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Absolutely. And we try to cater to everybody. Soccer's not my thing. It never has been, but I know it's a growing thing. And I'm glad that we are able to present soccer content here on the network. So good work, boys. And that show, along with the others that we're going to talk about in a second, can be seen throughout our broadcasting week here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Again, the Attacking Third was tonight. Pat Bernard will be back on Sunday to do the wraparound, and then until May 4th. And then on May 4th, the Sunday morning at 9 a.m. slot will be held by the PNM and the AM show as they'll return to the airwaves and come to It's a Wrap Sports. Of course, you got me every Sunday through Thursday at 10 p.m. Mostly, and the Fighting's final as well, immediately following the Phillies game. And every Phillies game, we'll do the Fighting's final. So all the quality entertainment we got here on the program. So let's strap it in, strap it on, strap it up. Keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times, and let's roll with your day in Philadelphia sports history. We're going to go back to the year 2000 for this day. April 10th, 2000, the Phillies played their first home game in the 2000s. Actually, this date is commonly credited as either the first home game of the 21st century or the first of the new millennium, but neither is correct, as 2000 is the last year in a century and 01 is the first. I remember when that was the thing. We were talking that, and that's so stupid to me. Not giving the number 0 its credit it's due. It is the first year. Come on, man. Why we get wrapped up around those things? But so I guess technically today was not the first Phillies home game of the 2000s. back in 2000, and that 2001 would be. Either way, however you want to hash, the Phillies lost the game, or they won the game 9-7 over the Mets. To give the Phillies a exact 500 record at that time on opening day action at 58-2. For those of you that care, and for those of you that are hardcore Phillies fans, and it's a trivia question here that I might provide a prize for the network if you can guess this answer. What were the circumstances around the 2 ties that the Phillies have in their opening day legacy? We actually went over this as one of our Days in Philadelphia Sports History points a few weeks back. The Phillies are credited with 2 ties in opening day history. Why? What are the circumstances around that? Please put your answers in the chat, and I will try, and we'll see if anybody wins. And you might win a prize, a personalized 8x10 glossy of MattyB doing this. But no, seriously. The Phillies are credited with 2 ties. What are the circumstances around their 2 ties on opening day? It's the first ever It's a Wrap Sports Final Word trivia question of the night. But let's get into the show. Again, we are in a rain delay in Atlanta. It's the top of the 7th. Phillies are 1-1 with the Braves. Another frustrating offensive day for the Phillies. The only offense the Phillies can speak of is a towering monster home run by Kyle Schwarber as he continues to bat the ball all over the place. And really, what's he now, tied for the league lead in home runs, or is it NL with 6? That's the 6th home run tonight. Definitely has turned a corner. And, I was not the biggest Kyle Schwarber guy. I never said I was. And but his performance last season and his performance this year have definitely gotten me off the Kyle Schwarber hate train. And I don't know if I'm in love with him as much to give him a contract extension, but I definitely feel he's turned it around. And there's another question, I guess, for you. Does Kyle Schwarber, or should Kyle Schwarber, get an extension? He is in a contract year and he's playing like it. And are you taking the first 11 or 12 games now of the season as a, is he playing above and beyond for that contract? Do you try to get him to an extension as soon as possible so he doesn't drive the price completely up? Or do you let this thing play out and get to the offseason, whether or not you want to give him the extension or not? So these are questions that Dave Dombroski, who, again, our show tonight was supposed to be grading Dombroski. That was what we were going to get into tonight. And I had a detailed plan with a grading system and all that. But we're going to put that on the back burner till Sunday night because of the wonkiness now with the rain delay. But yeah, Kyle Schwarber continues to knock the cover off the ball. He's not struggling at the plate. It doesn't seem where they put him in the lineup matters. So to me, it sort of like strengthens the argument of those who want him down lower in the lineup, because every time you have him leading off, which by the way, he's doing that again tonight, it's RBI opportunities that are being sucked away from. Now, in that solo home run, the play prior was Brandon Marsh grounding out into a double play, which took a runner off the bases. And then, of course, is the reason why we're sitting 1-1 and not 2-1, which would be a better spot to be in because of the rain delay right now. But and I guess that supports the argument of him leading off, right? I don't know, but I still think he needs to be lower in the lineup. So we'll get into that maybe. Joe says Jesus Luzardo pitched a gem again. I don't know. Really, Joe? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm not going to say gem. Pitched well. I don't think he pitched as well last time out tonight than he did tonight. I don't think. Stuff was up a little bit. They were getting to him. The Phillies were also getting the Schnellenbach, which was cool. I mean, he came into the game with giving up no runs so far this season, and the Phillies got to him with a run. But also the Phillies let him off the hook as well. But as far as Luzardo goes, yeah, he pitched well. I'll definitely give him that. But I wouldn't call it a gem. Maybe a cubic zirconia. Is that maybe a fair assessment? It wasn't a gem. It was good. A quality effort, and that's all you can ask for. And by the way, pitching wise, Ranger Suarez tonight made his rehab assignment down there in Clearwater. I watched it. He pitched well, really well. 3 innings against the God, well, I can't remember this name. The Daytona Tarragonas. I don't know why I can't remember their name. I watched the game all the way through Rangers pitching, and they were saying the name over and over again. I don't remember it, but it's the Cincinnati Reds low A team. So he pitched really well. No runs, a hit. I think he had 4 strikeouts. Now the question is, where does he go from here? I don't think he's coming right back to Philadelphia. I would suppose or expect another stop somewhere along the line, Reading or maybe even Lehigh before he comes back to the Phillies. And then of course that depends on how he feels tomorrow after the pitch, physically. But all signs were really good tonight for Ranger Suarez. He's pitching a lot of his stuff was breaking, his curve was curving, and his fastball was a fasting. So he pitched well against low A competition, but still it's pro level. And then tomorrow, the main event, for those of you out there who are wondering, Andrew Painter will get his first start in 2 years, 2 freaking years, with a opportunity tomorrow against the same Daytona club down there at Baycare Park. And that game will be televised, I believe, by the Phillies website. So it's a 6:35 start for all you that care. Definitely. And with the Phillies game not starting until 8 o'clock because they're in St. Louis tomorrow, a good way to kind of kill some time is watching Andrew Painter make his first start in over 2 years. So definitely going to be looking at that, and we'll be reporting on that as well. So a lot of things are happening positively for the Phillies in terms of their pitching. And tonight, as I mentioned, 1-1, some offensive struggles again, not being able to get runners in, leaving runners on base, not getting those big hits. But Kyle Schwarber being the only offense right now, backing up a good effort by Jesus Luzardo. He's tied for league in strikeouts. Yeah, I mean, listen, Joe, I'm not, again, I'm just telling you what I saw. His stuff was up, and they were hitting him, right? I mean, but he was getting out of it, and he was pitching well. I'm not saying that he didn't pitch well. I wouldn't call it a gem. No, I just wouldn't. But he pitched well. They said Painter will pitch at least 3 innings. Yeah, and that's probably going to go with how he feels. And I think it's 3 innings. I don't think he goes more than that. And if they start getting to him early, it'll be less than 3 innings. And if he starts feeling discomfort, it'll be less than 3 innings. But I don't expect it to go over 3 innings, even if he's mowing them down. I just don't think they'll do that. But definitely a must-see TV event tomorrow as you're waiting for the Phillies game to start. And I'll be watching. So I expect you to as well. Well, let's get into our why we came here tonight. So again, as I said, I was going to do this detailed breakdown on grading Dave Dombroski, and it's detailed, folks. I went to some great painstaking care to prepare a grading system, researching all the moves that Dave Dombroski has made, and actually some of the moves that he's made I forgot that he made, and that was a little telling. And then kind of getting into some assessments of Dave, and using you guys out there as my grading scale. I was going to ask you where you kind of came out on some of this stuff, but due to the snafu with the weather down in Atlanta, I am going to be hosting the Fightins Final a little bit later on too. So I figured just come on in here and kind of eat up about an hour, and then I'll be back at you a little bit later on. So I don't want to give you too much of MattyB, because too much of MattyB is never a good thing. It's just not. It's never worked well, and there's a lot of people out there that can attest to it. So I figured I'd just come in and do a quick little show here, and then we'll move on. But just to kind of update you, Jesus Luzardo's line, 6 innings tonight, 6 hits, 1 run. It was earned, a walk, and 6 strikeouts, 98 pitches through 6 innings. That is not a gem. No, it's not. 65 pitches through 6 innings or 70 pitches through 6 innings. That's it. That I can attest to that. But 98 pitches through 6 innings. When has that been acceptable? And Atlanta got 6 hits off him. So again, not a gem, but definitely a good effort tonight by Luzardo as he kept the Braves down and gets, has the Phillies at 1-1 in the rain delay in Atlanta. So anyway, what we came here to talk about. So last night, Michael Papernik, Mike, if you're out there listening, I need you to chime in and let me know you're there, because this is this whole line here tonight, this whole theme is about the question you asked me last night. And it was in reference to sending up players from the minor leagues, i.e. Miller, i.e. Crawford, i.e. Painter, to come up and play. And why are the Phillies so reluctant in sending up their players? And why does it seem that with this team, we don't get much minor league support? Whereas teams like the Dodgers and the Braves, somebody goes down, they're calling somebody up tomorrow to come in, and they fit in seamlessly. And it got me thinking, and I don't think I gave it its due. And I want to apologize to you for that tonight. And I want to jump in and get into that. So Joe says, who's first to come out of the bullpen? Well, I would say Ross, but Ross pitched last night. So I'm going to go Ruiz or Kerkering. Did they both pitch last night too? I don't know. I want to say, top of the seventh, right? So the Phillies are at bat. Who's due up in the bottom of the seventh? Let's see. I'm going to go Matt Strahm. There you go. Matt Strahm. Over under on Matt Strahm. You guys take that bet? I say Matt Strahm is the first out of the bullpen for the Phillies. I do. Michael Papernick is here. All right, Michael, good. This is for you. All right. You asked me the question last night whether or not why, actually, the question was why the Phillies can't or so reluctant in sending up minor league players to help out at the major league level. Why are we seemingly bound to just having to buy or trade all of our talent and put together a team like that? So it got me thinking. And you're right. It doesn't seem to work well, right? It does seem that we are unable to go into our minor league system at any time and pull talent, Major League Baseball ready talent. And so I got to thinking, what might be the reasons for that? And, I'm going to go to the standard Klentak, McPhail, ruin the minor leagues. And maybe to a certain extent, Ruben Amaro Jr. has something to do with that too, right? And they decimated the minor leagues with bad trades or bad draft picks, bad moves, and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go with that. And I don't know if it's fair, though. I mean, I know it was in shambles under the Klentak McPhail regime. I know the minor league system just wasn't working. I mean, picking Mickey Moniak over Pete Alonso tells you all you need to know who was running the train in Philadelphia during those days. But we're a long way away from Klentak. We're years away from that. Now, was the minor league so bad that it's taken them to this point to even rebuild it to a point where we got players that are scratching at the surface and that are not quite able to break through yet, but are potentially going to break through any time yet? And you're right. It's concerning because here's the one common thread that the Phillies, the two World Series championship teams in Phillies history have. And that's a healthy amount of homegrown talent that assisted them in winning those World Series. From my numbers, 7 homegrown players were involved and daily contributors to the 80 team. 9 homegrown were daily contributors to the 09 team. And right now we currently have, and I'm not going to use the word contributors, but we currently have 6 players that are homegrown who play every day or every 5th day for the Phillies in 2025. And that is alarming. That's very alarming for the future of this team because with the core and these contracts, i.e. Schwarber, Realmuto, starting to expire, where is the backfill? Are we going to have to consistently buy our backfill? And then the hypocrite Phillies fans that will come on this thing or go on radio shows and complain about what the Dodgers and the Yankees are doing. Well, what the hell do you think the Phillies are doing? They're all doing the same thing. They're buying their talent. Now, the Dodgers have a double-edged sword because they can hit you with talent that they buy and talent that they cultivate and bring up from the minors. Now, the Braves probably have the best minor league developing system in all of baseball. They just seem to have an endless supply of MLB-ready talent. Where is the Phillies talent? Where is the Phillies talent? And I got to fall on the goddamn sword of Klentak and McPhail. I really do. McPhailure, right? Remember those days? I got to fall on that sword. I think the minor leagues were so decimated by those two incompetent boobs that it's taken us almost 10 years to even rebuild the minor leagues to a semblance with talent that is now scratching at the surface. And I do spend a lot of time, and I've spent a lot of time throughout my life, and it's a lot easier these days with streaming and the MLB apps and all that to actually watch these minor league games. It's not easy to watch low-level minor league baseball. You got to love the damn sport a whole other level to sit there and watch. I was watching the Brooklyn Cyclones playing against the Hudson Valley Renegades or whatever they were called the other day. And that's low-level Yankees Mets, right? That's high A Yankees Mets. And I was watching the Clearwater game today, and I watched the Reading game. I watch a lot of low-level baseball. I watch a lot of college ball, a lot of high school ball, perfect game ball, JUCO ball, whatever you want. I watch it, and it's tough to watch some of this stuff, right? And in low-level minor leagues, and mainly what I do it for the umpires, because I know in low A or an A ball, they run a two-man umpiring system, which is, the mechanic of two-man is that, and that's kind of what we run in the high school and below level. So it's more for grading them, seeing what they're doing on the field, how they're moving together and how they're communicating. It's more of an umpire thing for me a lot of times when I'm watching this low-level stuff. But there's a lot of empty blue chairs that are invited to these games. It's somewhat depressing. It honestly is. But to look at players that could be scratching at the surface, that could be major contributors to this organization in the future, and we got a few of them right now, man. I'm telling you, better days are coming for our minor league system. But it's unfortunate that it's not there yet. And a lot of the problems that we're dealing with this team, a lot of the issues that we were talking about, third base, center field, the bullpen, they could be homegrown solutions. And maybe that is why, and I'm not going to give Dombroski credit. Maybe I am. But when we get into the grading of him next week, Sunday night we'll do it. We're going to find out some of these trades, some of these signings, and maybe the lack of activity in 2025 in the offseason was because of players like Justin Crawford, Otto Kemp, Painter, maybe to a certain extent Nick Abel, because maybe they feel that this point in this season, this time, they have players that they can put in to positions to help them out internally. I gotta fall on that. I gotta believe that was the plan, because right now, when we look at the issues with third base, when we look at Alec Boehm, who's struggling again tonight, when we look at center field, who's Brandon Marsh is struggling again tonight, and when we look at the bullpen, and we've seen the struggles of the bullpen, and you look at this stuff and you think, how do they not see this coming? How negligent can they be? You gotta wonder. There had to be a plan. And maybe that plan was the minor leagues. And maybe, like I've said from day one of talking about the 2025 Phillies, I strongly believe that 1, 2, or maybe even 3 of our current prospects are going to be huge contributors to the 2025 team at some point before it's all said and done this year. And obviously the first person in that chute is Justin Crawford. When are we going to pull the plug on the center field problem, an experiment of Brandon Marsh and Johan Rojas? And I of course, in my own way, I like to sort of poke the bear. And I put this out on the It's a Wrap Twitter tonight, aimed at one person specifically. But let's put this up here. So Logan O'Hoppe, so far this year, not to include whatever he did tonight. This is not in tonight. 39 at bats, 7 runs, 14 hits, 5 homers, 9 RBIs, and a .359 batting average. I wish the BCIB had those numbers. JT's not hitting like that, and Brandon Marsh certainly is not hitting like that. So on the surface right now, that was a trade from Dombroski that failed. And yeah, you can call me pining over Logan O'Hoppe. You can say all you want, but God, when I heard this trade, I remember where I was, what I was doing. I was so pissed the hell off that Dombroski did this. Now, at the time in 2022, I guess he felt JT was going to last forever. I didn't think that. I knew JT was coming up to a crossroads, and not only a crossroads with this team, but with his career, with his age. And having a major league ready catcher right there in our system, ready to just seamlessly plug in just seemed too simple for me. And we traded him for Brandon Marsh. I mean, come on, man. The trade totally didn't work out. It worked out well for the Angels. The Angels have a backstop for the next 10 years. Now, we got another one, Eduardo Tait, but he's 3-4 years, or 2-3 years away. But still, I would much prefer Logan O'Hoppe backing up JT right now. Much prefer that. Maybe then we could answer the JT question too. So I get the question now, Michael, and you should be frustrated 100% because this farm system was so depleted and so bad that now finally in 2025, there's a semblance right now. There's a little sniff that it could potentially get better. And I know it's frustrating, man. I know it's frustrating. I know, man. I'm just letting you know that your question struck a nerve with me last night. It really did. They just said after 11 to okay. So I'll be back probably around 1 with the Vikings final. And Ricky is watching. Good to see you, Rick. The Phillies had a decent minor league system under Ed Wade. Absolutely. And he is going into the Wall of Fame this year because he wouldn't listen to idiots like me who were screaming back in 2002 and 3 to get rid of these prospects, trade for Scott Kazmir, and try to push us into the wild card. That now he was like, I'm not getting rid of Utley. I'm not getting rid of Ryan Howard. I'm not getting rid of those types of Hamels. Ended up trading Gavin Floyd, which is a bad trade, but you can't win them all. But I'm not going to bend to that pressure. I'm going to hold on to these players because we got something special happening. And I'm not saying that that's what's going on down in, the 5 levels right now. I'm not saying that we have another, that kind of run coming. But I would like to believe we have something similar because with the contracts that are starting to expire, and let's face it, with some of the failed experiments that are starting to rear their ugly head here with this team, we're going to need replacement players probably sooner than later. And it'd be nice to think that Justin Crawford is going to snap in and end all of our center field debates. That Aiden Miller, whether he's going to play shortstop or third base, will end that debate. Otto Kemp could come in and play third base intermediately and end that debate. Eduardo Tait in 2 years could come in and be the next, Carlos Ruiz, but a lot better. And then obviously Andrew Painter is the next ace. And maybe Mick Abel could actually assimilate to the bullpen or even start and be a quality starting pitcher. Griff McGarry, who's kind of turned his career around, at least through a few starts down in Reading, is looking pretty good again. So maybe there's something to it right now. And maybe there's more coming that I'm giving credit to. And but I know it's frustrating because the question would be, why isn't it here now? And how long can we keep this up? And heading into this season with the amount of inactivity from Dave Dombroski, maybe that's the plan is. Maybe they're seeing it too. Let's talk Phils. Come on, let's do it, man. October 2nd, 1965, when the Phillies and Mets ended in a tie. Not okay. Okay, Joe, you didn't listen to the full question. The full question was opening day record. The Phillies have 2 ties on their opening day record, not seasons. Opening day. There's 2 ties. Why? And yes, both of them are involving a New York team. I'll give you that. You got a quarter of the question right. And as you're now Googling it, I will probably reveal the answer. But good try. And I believe that it was a hurricane. I remember that game, or I don't remember that game personally, but I do remember hearing something about that. But no, this was they have 2 ties on opening day. To start their seasons, they have 2 ties in their history. Why? The problem with third base is if you bench Bohm, all the Phillies have is a combination of Sosa or Clemens rotating at third base unless they bring up Kemp or make a trade. I 100% agree. And that's might be what's keeping Bohm around. Because there's no depth right now at the major league level, and maybe they're not ready for Kemp, and maybe they're holding off for Miller to leapfrog over AAA and come right to the majors this year. I get it, and maybe again, that's what makes this whole thing frustrating, is that you got to sit there and wonder how much longer are we going to be subjected to watching Alec Bohm go out there and just trip all over himself. I mean, the team is out on him. They were out on him last year. They tried to move him. I don't know how aggressively they were, or actually they said they didn't try to move him, but they were taking calls on him, which I think is BS. How much longer do we have to endure Alec Boehm? And does Alec Boehm benefit from this? Because there's nothing behind him right now in order to replace him with. So I get and that's frustrating in itself, man. And then you can say the same thing about Brandon Marsh in center field. But I think Brandon Marsh's clock is ticking, man. And I think Rojas's clock is ticking. But the question is, you bring Crawford up, you probably send Rojas down and you keep Marsh on your bench, which I don't know why you would do that, but they probably do. But you just got to, and I know that makes it that much more frustrating. This whole thing makes it's more frustrating. Crawford is raking at every level. Yeah. And he'll be here. He'll be here before the end of the season. I 100% believe that. Okay, man, let's talk Phillies. I like Turner, but a bad contract for the years given to the 30-year-old. Again, don't jump the gun, Mike. I got a whole thing lined up for contracts and how bad they might have been under Dombroski's tutelage, because I want to get to the heart of the problem, because that is the heart of the problem. He is the man who was in charge of making all these deals. And obviously, when we start looking at some of these contracts, you're going to be appalled at some of these deals that he's made. And you're going to be appalled at some of the players that he's let go. But we can't do that tonight. As I said, we're going to do it Sunday night. I'm sorry. Things got kind of screwed up with the weather. But Michael Papernick is correct. He's absolutely 100% correct. Frustration is what you should have. Because why can't the Phillies go into their minor league system right now and pull up a competent third baseman to replace the struggling Alec Boehm? Why are we subject to a platoon situation in center field with two players who are not major league starters? And why is Logan O'Hoppe raking for the Angels? And we're stuck with the BCIB. You know what I'm saying? So I feel you, Michael, and I feel everybody out there that has that type of frustration, man. Because as I got to thinking about it, he's right. It's like one whole avenue or vein of replenishing talent has been cut off from this team for years, and this now it's starting to get reopened. But we're still maybe a year or two away from a lot of the talent that's in there now to start yielding fruit. And that is frustrating, especially the closer you get. I thought Don Mattingly's son was running the minor league. He is now. He has been for the last few years. Matter of fact, I think he was the one that replaced whoever was under Klentak. I believe he replaced him. But, Preston Mattingly's he ran the minor leagues. Now he's the GM because Feud went off to get his MBA at University of Pennsylvania. So Preston Mattingly is now the actual GM of this team. So Tampa, Cards, Dodgers, Braves, etc. All they do. Absolutely. And it's evident by the fact that they can just constantly just go to the well. If what happened to the Braves last year happened to the Phillies, if we lost Zach Wheeler and Harper, let's call it that, we're not making the playoffs. We're not making the playoffs, right? They lose Strider and Acuna, and they get in. That is a testament to a strong organization with a lot of depth. The Phillies don't have that right now. And hopefully it's coming back. But yeah, it's frustrating. And I guess Klentak and McPhail ran the organization's minor league system really bad into the ground. And you kept hearing about it, that the Phillies minor league system sucked. But I guess it really did. And I guess it sucked on all kinds of different levels because we're still waiting to get some talent out of that level. Now, Boehm, Stott, what we got? Boehm, we got Stott, we got Rojas, Nola, Suarez, and Sanchez that are currently homegrown talent that are contributing for the Phillies. All right. Now, there's a couple of hits in there. Nola was a hit. He was. Sanchez looks like he's a hit. Suarez, if he can get his damn injury situation under control, has pitched well. Stott, Boehm, Rojas, depending on what night of the week it is, I don't know. The conversation is still up in the air about them. But that's not enough. When we're talking about those players, you can't compare them to Howard, Utley, Rollins, Ruiz, Myers, Hamels, Victorino through the Rule 5, Jason Worth through the Rule 5, Pat Burrell. You can't compare them to Schmidt, Trio, Boa, Boone, Luzinski, Larry Christensen, and Lonnie Smith. You can't compare those players. You can't compare Stott, Bohm, Nola, Suarez, and Sanchez to any of the other two groups of players that have been part of world championship teams for this team. So right now, the minor league system has yielded some results, but not quite what it needs to yield. So it's frustrating to have one side of your team so friggin' closed down. So who's hosting the Phillies final besides you tonight? Besides me tonight? I'm hosting it alone, Joe. Solo, mano y mano. I will be doing the Fightins final tonight for Sal G, who's got to get up early in the morning. So I'll be going in from whenever that is, whatever time that might be. Bassett and Bohm are the only two homegrown position player, everyday starters, not pitchers. Yeah, no, absolutely. And there's a lot of, and then the other two groups that I read off, the majority of those guys were position players. You're 100% right, Mike. And that tells an even worse story to the minor league story. It's terrible. And if somebody else has got intel on why it's so bad, but is it McPhail? Was it Klentak? Was it Rubin? I mean, where did the wheels fall off of the minor league system? And obviously it was so bad that here we are almost 10 years later, and we're still waiting on a good portion of talent to break through. I don't know of any other team in baseball that has that problem. Now, we've been able to buy our way out of it. We've been able to buy some players. We've been able to produce a lot of big-time contracts to some superstar-type players. But obviously in 2025, we couldn't do that. We couldn't do that no more. And is that a telling sign? As the wallet closed from John Middleton, and they just can't afford the luxury tax penalties, they don't want to lose the draft picks over it, and now they're just hoping and praying that their minor league systems finally kick in. And I think this is the year that we're going to see something. I do. I've been saying that since the beginning. But yes, again, man, it's frustrating. So I just wanted to come on and sort of like clear the air there. That Michael Papernik's point was very valid, and it's frustrating. And once you get inside the numbers a little bit and you peel back the onion a little bit, you can see how bad the minor leagues have been for this team over a long period of time. And here we sit with obvious holes at third base, an obvious hole in center field, and problems in our bullpen, and there's no way to fix them. And that's what happens when you kick the can down the road, and then all of a sudden you can't kick it anymore. So Sunday night, be back here as we will grade Dombroski. We will go through maybe about 30 moves that he's made, and we will give him a grade, a number grade, and then we will assess it, and we'll give him a final grade. And we'll find out what Dave Dombroski really has done. Has he done a good job, or has he done a bad job since he's been here? And I think we're going to be surprised. I really do. I think we're going to be surprised of the poor job he's done up to this point as the president of baseball operations for the Phillies. And I fear that the closer we get to a potential World Series berth this year, or as the season wears on and we're battling for a playoff spot, that he's going to drain out our farm system, just as it's now starting to get to a point where it might start yielding fruit. That scares me. And I know a lot of what's my counterpart here on the network say, you got to pay to play. Well, maybe Klentak had that, stapled to his office wall because he obviously believed that as well. Okay. But I think paying to play, or is it pay to play? Paying to play got us into the situation that we're in right now. And I don't want to go back there ever. So I hope that we don't liquidate the farm system trying to chase a World Series with Alec Bohm as our starting third baseman, because that would be an exercise in futility. And you heard it here first from your boy, MattyB. All right, for those of you that are just checking in, wondering what's going on, well, I'm here to tell you the Phillies are in a rain delay. It is 1-1, top of the 7th inning. I am here with the final word, and I will be back a little bit later on when the game resumes. I assume it's going to have to resume. It's, it's tied. I will be back later on for Fighting's final duty, as well as I've given Sal G the night off because of the fact that this is going to be a late night game, and they all have day jobs. So I am going to be back here for the Fighting's final. So you're going to get double duty of me or double blast of me over the next few hours as we get through this night together. So here we are doing the final word, and then we'll break from this and we'll reconvene at the end of the Phillies game, whenever that may be. Joel says, so my card review has to do with the Phillies. I got a Brad Lidge Topps rookie card. All right, we'll talk that in a little bit. I want to hear we can definitely discuss that in a little bit, Joe. But let's get back to the show and let's get into our of the night topic, or of the night segment. Actually, you know what? Let's skip of the night for now. Let's get into what we've been working on over the last few nights. The MattyB's all-time favorite MLB jersey thing. So we started that like on Tuesday night, I think, and I've been breaking it down and going division by division. We started in the American League, in the American League West. We went over the West. We did the Central last night, and tonight we're going to do the AL East. And we're just kind of talking about what I feel as my personal favorite jerseys of each team throughout the years. I took a home jersey and a road jersey, and throughout all the years of the existence of these teams, and I put together my two favorites for each team. So tonight, let's continue that on. Well, let's recap. I'm a big recap kind of guy. So here's the AL West from a few nights ago. The original or the old school 80s Angels road and home uniforms. Sometimes it's going to work out that way, that I believe teams have got it right the first time, and I stay with both of them. Other times you're going to see different period of jerseys kind of, mashed together. But as far as the Angels go, the 80s home and road jerseys to me were, you didn't have to change any of that. That was classic look. And some of the stuff they've done since then was somewhat revolting, but those were my favorite. The A's, the 72 homes and the early 80s roads, to me, that tells the A's pitcher all I want to hear. The Mariners, the early 80s home jerseys and the mid 80 road jerseys. I dig the Trident M. I think it's one of the coolest logo conceptions ever. That, along with the guy that decided to wrap a halo around the A of Angels. The Texas Rangers jerseys of the road jerseys of the early 80s and their home jerseys of the early 80s as well. The Astro road jerseys, which is the bottom one of the early 80s, and their current City Connect uniforms that they wear at home are my favorite Astro jerseys. Now, that tells a story that the Astros have just had pitiful, ugly uniforms throughout the history of their existence, and I'm going with what I feel is the best one. So there's the American League West. Now on to the American League Central. The Tigers' classic look. I know they've changed the road jersey, and it's kind of a cursive Detroit now, but that block lettered across the chest, that sums up my childhood, along with the big, the turn of the 19th century home uniforms of the Tigers. It don't get much better than that. I would love to be associated with a fan base or a team that has those types of history. And I know there's a few of them out there, and we're going to get into two or more of them tonight. But to me, that there's no changes needed for the Tiger uniforms. Why mess with perfection? White Sox, I went with the home 1976 jerseys because you know why? When you blend 19th century baseball look with the 70s and a butterfly collar, I'm going with your jersey, man. That takes so much courage for someone to actually put together and then actually use it for years. I got to put it on the list because that, to me, it's my all-time favorite. That might be my top 5 of all time, and any jersey is that monstrosity of the home White Sox late 70s with the butterfly collar. Nowhere else in history of sports have I seen anybody get away with a butterfly collar, and the White Sox did it to perfection. And their early 90s road jerseys, to me, is just a classic baseball look. I know there might be some people out there that like the old school 80s, like when they had socks written across the front with the borders of color, and then they had their number on their pants. Those uniforms, they were a close consideration. If they didn't have the butterfly collar home jerseys ever, I would have went with those. but I got to go with the butterfly collars, man. The Twins road jerseys of the early 80s and their home jerseys of today. Love that. I've always loved the Twins old school road jerseys. The Royals haven't really changed much in time. So I'm going to go with their 80s look there. And then the hell with the Guardians. This is the Indians. And I went with their late 70s road jerseys and their 90s home as my favorite Indians jersey. So there's the AL Central. So that leads us to the AL East. And where is the AL East? There we go. Let's get to the AL East. And here's, we're going to kind of start it off with, has the Yankees ever changed their uniforms? Has it ever been anything different than this? So there's really no other way for me to, there's nothing to gauge it with. This is it. I mean, I believe this is the only design they've ever had for home and away. So I'm going to go with that. I hate the Yankees colors. I hate the Yankees logo. I hate everything about the Yankees. I hate Yankee Stadium. But, you know, when you think about baseball and the rich history of the sport, it's those uniforms right there you see in your mind. So there you go. On to the Red Sox, same type of situation. Now, the Red Sox have changed their road jerseys throughout time, but I'm going to go with their 80s with the Boston across the front. You know, that worked well for me. I thought that was a really good look. I like that look. Again, it's classic, simple, and to the point. And again, I don't think they've ever really switched around their home jerseys that much ever. So I'm going with those. Now we get out to the Blue Jays who have had multiple uniforms over time, but I'm going to stick with the 80s. The 80s look. They wore these uniforms together during the 80s. The old school powder blues, roads, and then the home with the just the Blue Jays written across the front and that big bird in the front. Classic look to me, man. And you put together with the blue and white hat. Yeah, don't get much better than that. Now we get to the Baltimore Orioles. I'm going with their homes from the early 80s and their current road jerseys. I think that road jersey's hot, man. And Baltimore's had some really cool jersey combinations, really good logos, color schemes. But I'm going with the current road jerseys and the 80s home because I think it's a really good look together, man. It just pops for me. I love every time you write the city name across the front of your jersey for a road, it makes too much sense to me. I don't know why the Phillies have never done it or have not done it in like 50 years. I would dig, like, instead of saying Phillies, Philadelphia. You know, that would be cool. But I'm going to go with the road jerseys up today for the Orioles. And then the Devil Rays. I'm going with their first ever home jerseys up there from 98. Again, this is a team that's got hideous colors, hideous design choices, a hideous name. It's hard for me to pull something out of that. I'm not going with the vest. I'm not going with any of that. So I'm going to go with their inaugural home jerseys and then their current road jerseys as a default because I really don't like anything they've ever done. But I got to choose to. So there you go. There's the AL East. So we are now done with the American League. And on Sunday, we'll start with the National League West and work our way through to the NL East. That's Matty B's all-time favorite MLB jerseys. And we are done with the American League. If the Phillies could get the Cardinals to bite in a trade, Hernando, what would you think the Phillies, besides Bowman, would have to give up for the perfect bridge guy till Miller comes up? I think they'd have to give up somebody in that pipeline. They'd probably have to give up a Racones Jr. They might have to also give up on a Kemp because they're going to want someone to replace that position. So Otto Kemp would get moved, I think. I don't know if I'm ready to pay that price right now for Ariando. I'm not ready. I don't think I'm ready for that. Or Nano, whatever you call it, however you say his name. I think the price would be too steep, and I don't think the Phillies should pay it. It would cost. I think it would cost Kemp. Probably going to cost a pitcher, not like what Painter they wouldn't do, but it would cost Kemp and probably Racones Jr. They would want another position. It would be too much for me. I'm not interested. Again, Mike, in this, and this is what I'm afraid that Dave Dombroski is going to be doing, trying to mortgage the future for a potential run at a World Series. So I don't think it has to happen right now. And I go back to the Ed Wade days of those times in the early 2000s when people were crying on the radio, screaming, trade these damn prospects. The big name was Scott Kazmir. You guys remember that guy, the pitcher from the, I think it was the Rays, right? He was the missing piece for a lot of different rotations. He ended up getting traded to the Mets, and he got hurt and never did anything for them. But everyone was screaming to Ed Wade, trade some of these prospects. We've rebounded from the pain of the 90s. We're a competitive team in the early 2000s. We have a shot. This is during the Boa years. Get rid of some of these prospects. Let's make a run for the wild card. Ed Wade wouldn't do it. And obviously, thank God he didn't for what would follow, right? So I fear this type of trade is the exact type of trade Dombroski is thinking about. And I don't want to do it. I don't want to mortgage it. I am not interested in paying to play. I'm not. I'm interested in trying to get some of our pieces to work. And if you're telling me, it's hard for me to believe that Otto Kemp right now couldn't come in here and do a better job than Alec Bohm. I know he could. I guarantee you he could. Alec Bohm is in his own head. Alec Bohm is done. Alec Bohm is cooked. And not because he's a cooked baseball player. I think you can go somewhere else and put it together again. But it's just not going to happen here. Too much has been done. Too much has been said. It's time to move on. So anyway, I hope that answered your question. Let's get into the of the night segment. All right. Yes. We are back. And this is the of the night segment. This is the part of the show where we talk about a Phillies prospect or a Flyers prospect. We talk about a Phillies spotlight player or a Flyers spotlight player. We also talk about MLB draft targets or NHL draft targets. Tonight, we are going to go back into the Philly prospect pool. Seem to kind of be the theme here. So let's go on to our Phillies prospect of the night. And it is the 2024 Paul Owens Award winner as the best minor league pitcher or player. Eberson Castellano, the right-hand pitcher. A huge amount of that 2024 swing and miss came from Castellano's curveball, an 80 to 82 mile pitch with power and depth that showed a lot of improvement in 24, eliciting a 49% miss rate. His changeup has long been an effective offering for the 6'3" right-hander, thrown in the mid-80s with a sink and fade that also can be an out pitch, 39% miss rate according to Synergy. He mixes both of them well with a fastball that averages just over 94 miles an hour, last year touching 98, and is thrown with good extension. And he started off the season pretty well with Reading sporting them hot dog uniforms, man. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's the color scheme right there. It's red and mustard yellow, baby. Woohoo! But Iverson Castellano, the 2024 Paul Owens Award winner, as one of the top minor league players in the Phillies system. So there you go. Here's our Phillies prospect. Again, he's another one of those names. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing him be moved along. I mean, he's down in Double-A, at least 2 or 3 years away. So I would pay to play with him potentially for a decent haul, So again, there's talent brewing, and we talk about him a lot here on the show. So there you go. There's the of the night segment. Now let's go into the final part of our show and the funnest part of the show. Let's face it. All right, that's right. It's MattyB's card review. It's the part of the show where we take one of my very vast amounts of sports cards and we just sort of kind of play with it, kind of have some fun with it, talk about it, enjoy it, and then, try to foster the hobby of sports card collecting. And Joe Hal mentioned a Brad Lidge Topps rookie card. So let's look that up. Let me take a look. I do not have one of those, and I've never seen it. Let's see. Brad Lidge Topps rookie. Yeah, that sounds about right. Is that 99? Was that a 99 there, Joe? I'm looking at his. I don't think this is the one. This is his draft pick card. It's probably not the same one, but yeah, I mean, it's a pretty decent card. Depending on what you got, if it's a base, I'd have to see the card, Joe. Is it a base card? Is it a parallel? Is it a refractor. I mean, they all kind of depends on that. Base cards are what they are. I mean, unless you're rocking a 1952 Mantle or a 1980 Henderson, base cards are pretty, not worthless. You're going to get money for them. I sold a base card last week for $100. So, I mean, there's money there. But right now I'm looking at Brad Lidge's 99 rookie as, about $4 or $5 card as a base. So I'd have to see the card. But yeah, I mean, it's a good start. Very good start. The 99 top set was pretty cool. I like the design of it. Okay, it's a base card. Yeah, you're looking about between a $2 to $5 card right now, and depending on what kind of shape it's in. So that's good, Joe. Outstanding. But our card tonight is not Brad Lidge. No, we're going to stay in the 80s. We've been kind of dealing with a lot of the players from yesteryear, a lot of the old school guys, right? A lot of the guys that I grew up rooting on as a kid. And no, it's not Hornus Wagner and Babe Ruth. No, it's not. It's a little younger than that. But so tonight we're staying in baseball, and we're moving off tops. We've been in tops all week. We're going to go into Donruss tonight, the lesser of the baseball card companies, and but we're definitely going to talk about a non-lesser player. So tonight is the 89 Donruss Dwight Evans, the former Boston Red Sox, again a player from my youth that just was, just part of my youth. He made his debut in 72, and he last appeared in 91. So right in that little sweet spot of my teenage years, he was sort of kind of coming down the stretch of his career. 3-time All-Star, 8-time Gold Glove winner, 2-time Silver Slugger, AL home run leader, and elected into the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame. 272 batting average, over 2,000 hits, almost 2,500 hits, 385 home runs, and over 1,300 RBIs on the career. Just a monster player. Played for the Red Sox and the Orioles for just 1 year. He played from the Red Sox from 72 to 90, and then played his final year in baseball, which is interesting. He made it all but 1 year with Boston, but he played his final year with the Boston Red Sox. And this is a Dwight Evans 89 Donruss card. So again, this card in itself is not necessarily it's Donruss, right? It's about a $3 or $4 card, but I like the design. I like the borders of this card. I like they played around darker colors. Donruss typically messes around with neon in that period of time throughout the late 80s and early 90s, but they stayed with a kind of more of a base color, a cool kind of color. So it's a decent card. Again, about $2 or $3 on any database that I've looked for it, and a decent player, a fringe Hall of Famer. I've always thought he deserves it, but never quite got in there. But Dwight Evans is tonight's card review, and here is the card in its physical form. As you can see, I'm holding on to about a 9. I'd say about a PSA 9, maybe 9.5. Again, this card is raw. All my cards are raw. But if I got this card graded, and for all you card collectors out there that are looking to get into the hobby, and if you're looking to seriously get into the hobby, getting these cards sent out to be professionally graded is definitely the way to go, because you're going to make more money that way. You're investing in, if you're going to invest in it and try to make money, which you can make a lot of money doing this stuff, but you got to spend some money. You got to play to pay. And but getting cards graded, that's where the real money is. As a PSA 9, this card graded, it's about a $25 baseball card. As a base card, that's when the money kicks in. Now, when you grade refractors and when you grade parallels and you grade, foils and stuff like that, that's when you're talking major money. You're talking hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars. So there's a stack of cards in my collection that I'm looking to send off for grading. I just haven't gotten around to that yet. I'm trying to get everything organized still. And once I do, though, I'm going to start sending cards to be graded. But if you're looking to purchase baseball cards, and if you're looking to get this baseball card specifically, head over to eBay and search under Philly Matt B7. That's PHLLY Matt B7, all one word. And this card, along with about 600 others so far, are on my eBay. So you can take a look at everything I have to offer, and maybe we can do some business. But all right, there's Dwight Evans, your card of the night. And that's going to take me to the end, folks, of the show. Another week in the books, another broadcast week wrapped up, but it's not going to be the end of me tonight, as whenever this Phillies game does resume, I will be back for the Fightins final tonight, presenting you with the best in Phillies post-game coverage. So here is to the week that we spent together, all the great conversation that we had, and here is to the coming up weekend here on the network. Some things to be aware of. Tomorrow, once we get through this Atlanta series, we'll move on to St. Louis, and here is your Fightins final schedule for the upcoming weekend. Big Al on Friday, Pat Bernard has you Saturday, and Big Mike will take you on Sunday. And then the wraparound with Pat Bernard Sunday morning at 9 a.m. here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. And I will return on Sunday night at 10, and then later on tonight. So we will see each other again in a little bit, and then we'll see each other again on Sunday. But please keep staying tuned to what's happening on with this network. Thoughts on Mark DeRosa managing Team USA? Is he really for the World Cup? Not the World Cup. What's it, the World? The thing coming up this spring. Really? I didn't know that, man. Wow. Interesting. I mean, I don't know. He won it in no, he didn't. That was Martinez that won it in 17. He lost it in 22, right? I don't know. I'll have to process that, Joe. Joe Hale constantly breaking news on this network. So the World Baseball Classic, Mark DeRosa will be managing Team USA again. Interesting. And by the way, for those of you that are keeping score at home, next year is the final year of the collective bargaining agreement in baseball, 2026. The CBA will expire on December 1st, 2026. So is there another work stoppage looming? I hope not, but we'll keep an eye on that. But Mike Papernick says, good show. Thank you, Mike. And thank you for the thought-provoking comment, because it really got me thinking. And yeah, the World Baseball Classic. Well, that's going to wrap me up, guys. And I want to thank everybody for their participation and tuning in. Please give us a like, a subscribe, a share, a follow, all those great things that help us out immensely as we continue to grow this. And I will see you guys in hopefully a little bit. Hopefully it's not like 4 a.m. that I'm coming back on here. But it'll be back for the Fightins final. And then tomorrow, we're back for the Fightins final. And yeah, I know they lost to Japan. I know they lost. That was a great game. That was an awesome game. That was a great. Listen, I love me some World Baseball Classic. It's the perfect start to the baseball season. You got like World Series type baseball or playoff type baseball right off the bat. There ain't nothing like it, man. I wish it did it every year personally. But we will be back later on tonight. Until we talk again, you guys have a great rest of your night, and even better tomorrow if you don't come back for the Fightins final. If you're coming back for the Fightins final, we'll see you in a little bit. So we'll take you guys take care, and we'll see you later.